Abu al-Baghdadi. Cried like a dog. Cried like a dog. I would not have cried like a dog, but he cried like a dog. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. I don't know if you know this or not. Donnie Trump in the house. Look at the little Donnie Trump ass right there. You turn it around, they put a whole little Donnie Trump ass on me. I look quite good. Fabulous, I got to tell you. Donnie T, he's in the house. So many good things are happening in our world right now. We're still breathing that amazing air of fresh freedom, and a lot of things are starting to manifest. Just a matter of days/hours after Donald Trump became president-elect of the United States of America. That's right, 47. He will be 47, 45 and 47. You guys had an opportunity to witness history. Maybe politically, I know no doubt about it, the biggest comeback in American political history. But wow, the stuff that we're watching unfold right now. I got to tell you guys, my socks are too tight. My socks. I don't like big, thick socks when I wear a boot, and I'm always wearing a boot. But I got on I think these are like diabetic socks. So there'll be no blood clots today. They are just tight. I'm feeling claustrophobic. It could be the sweater. But I'm very Mark Cuban for you right now. Okay. I figure if all of these billionaires and these millionaires and these elitists, if they can go on TV and put on these glasses and look like a middle-aged lesbian, I'm going to do the same thing. The only thing missing is the billions of dollars. The only thing missing is the major corporations and companies. I mean, don't I look like I could be on Shark Tank right now? Don't I look like I could be sitting in the stands at a Mavericks basketball game? Don't I look like I could, be a chicken leg beta male? Yes. Oh, many of you are upset because you're going to say, where's the hat? Well, later on, we're going to show a movie on my forehead. That's right. But no, my socks are too tight. I got to figure this thing out. I think they're going to be okay. Oh, man, so many things are happening, but the meltdowns continue. We're going to talk about that a little bit. It's insane. I want to break down for you what TDS looks like. TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. I did a little dive, not too deep, into some psychological reporting based on the phenomena, which is a folk condition known as Trump Derangement Syndrome. We'll get into that in a little bit. I'm going to show you some examples of what that plays out and looks like in real life. And then we're going to show you some stuff that's going to blow your mind. We're going to get right into that in just a moment. Before we do, I encourage you, go over to prathertees.com. Prathertees.com is where you can go get your garbage shirt. You have less than... I think you got about 24 hours where you can go get the garbage shirt, and then it's going to be gone. So go get it. A number of deals on there, lots of clearance stuff. The garbage there in the gray, it's gone. It's gone. You can't even. I don't even think you can buy that anymore. If we scroll down, I think. Yep. See, they're all sold out. All sold out. Even the big boy sizes, even the 3Xs, gone. And if you want to go over there and check out the clearance items, go to it. Prathertees.com. We will get back to regularly scheduled programming of, our typical ad sponsors, United Patriot Supply, My Patriot Supply, United Patriot Coin, Patriot Mobile, so many Patriots in the world, and we're adding a number of other partners to the show. Tonight, 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern, my friend Jamie Metzel is sitting down with me for a conversation to talk about his new book, Super Convergence. He's a super smart dude, and you're going to enjoy that conversation. He's been on the show before. You've seen him also on Joe Rogan's program. He's a Democrat. He's a liberal. He comes from the other side of the aisle, but he's a friend, and I'll show you how we can have a conversation and get along, even though we come from different viewpoints of life and politics and faith. Super smart guy, and you're going to enjoy that tonight. Don't forget to watch it. Before we go any deeper into this thing, let me bring in the brain trust, and that is America's favorite producer. His name, Royce Chamberlain. Come in here, Royce. I want to see your face. Look at that. Look at it. Now, see, that's the way a person's supposed to look with hair. That is the proper.
Oh, what, this?
That's the proper ratio of forehead to hair. Okay.
I actually have a very small forehead, so I've been told. Yes, very small. 3 head. Supposed to be 4.
Let's see, See, I've got an extra. I got 6.
I got 6. Yeah. I do that. You got the 6 head.
There's the 4. There's the 4. I can go up an extra 2. Look at that. A lot of
There you go.
there. But, a lot of people say I'm bald, and basically I am. But I'm sitting in a dark room here. I sort of look like a blue potato in this deal. I really want
Well, you look exactly like Mark Cuban, and I know that's what you were going for. But man, you spot on.
He's skinnier than me. He's got more money than me. But I was going for Mark Cuban today. Don't know why. Don't even have any lenses in these glasses.
Is this your late Halloween costume? Is that what we're seeing?
No, every now and then I just like to play dress up. I'm wearing female underwear too. Actually, there's no underwear. But
even better.
I feel like a blue potato in here. No, I was having a conversation with Sarah Gonzalez last night, and I was like, every now and then I want to be taken seriously as a journalist. And I'm neither serious or a journalist. So anyway, how are you, buddy? You're still in South Carolina. You ready to go home to Florida at any given time, right?
I am ready to go home to Florida. Next time you guys see me, hopefully I'll actually be at my desk with my camera, not from my computer lens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been here for almost a week, a little less than a week. I get to go home tomorrow and see my beautiful wife and my cat. Yeah. No, she's not a childless cat. Well, she's a childless cat lady, but we want to have kids one day, so it's not bad.
Well, you go home and practice. You go home and you practice.
We'll see. But yeah, South Carolina is beautiful. I do like it. Over here. But Texas, I know is it? You're wearing a sweater. Is it cold there yet?
No. Yesterday there was a nice little chill in the air. I went and played golf yesterday afternoon after we taped, and it was already starting to warm. It was actually a perfect day. It was a perfect day. Post-election, it was fantastic here in Texas. Had to make an early morning airport run today, and it was muggy. It was a muggy 74. So Party Foul Steve, we were in the truck. He said, it's almost like you feel like you're wearing a coat out here, even though it's cool, because just that haze settles down. But the sun's coming out. I can see it through the windows, and I think I might have to go play golf again today. And you know what? I think you could do stuff like that. One, because you have freedom, and two, because you can afford it under a Trump presidency. We're seeing some good stuff happen, and he's not even president. I was thinking now, and we'll get into some of this good stuff that's happening. And a man's only been president-elect for less than 48 hours at this point. Do you remember when they were trying to figure out the election in 2020, and they kept bringing Joe Biden out, and he would speak behind a lectern, and he had the seal, and it said "Office of the President-elect." Do you remember when they did that? And I was like, we've never had an Office of the President-elect. They came up with that as a psyop visual thing to try to make people psychologically believe that this guy he's the one who's in control. Trump was the president, but they came up with this seal, Office of the President-elect. And I thought that was interesting. I hope, dear God, that Trump does not come out behind a seal that says Office of the President-elect. I will be so disappointed if we see that happen. But I like it when you can kind of, be silent, carry a big stick. Trump is not silent, but I hope in these days we will see the big stick come out. We're already starting to see that. I got up yesterday, we went to breakfast, and the TV was on over the little cafe where we were sitting, over the diner bar there. And the Dow was up 1,400 points. The stock market, which obviously it is consumer confidence that is coming back in response to what this election turned out. There you see it. The Dow was up 1,474 points. That's 3.5%. It the all-time hit the all-time high. S&P 2.5%, Nasdaq 2.9%. This is a Trump effect. This is something that I think we're going to get used to. Now, I know we've heard it ad nauseum because, the people on the left, they love to argue one way or another. Well, the president doesn't have anything to do with the stock market. The stock market doesn't necessarily represent the economy. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll take all of the above. How about that? I like for people's 401ks to do well. I like for people's investments to do well. That's a sign of things to come. And I think we're going to see it reflected in the price of, unlike Kamala Harris, who said, well, the groceries are high because of price gouging. No, they're high because of inflation, record high inflation. So I think we're going to see things come down. I think we're going to see the stock market continue to go up. I think we're going to see consumer confidence. You know what? We're coming into the holidays. We'll know very well what's going to happen here pretty soon. But at the end of the day, people have got to get money back in their wallet, back in their purse, back in their pocketbook, and I think that's what's going to come. When you're rich like me and Mark Cuban, you don't really feel that. But I do have a heart for the common man. The guy that's out there working, slaving, doing his thing, and usually calling me asking for a loan that I know I'll never get back. Party foul, Steve. But I. But I want everybody doing well, man. And there's no reason why we can't be doing well here in this country. And I think this is a sign of things to come. So the Trump effect, I have seen a number of things. You probably have too, Royce, a number of things on X, on social media, where people are saying, well, you guys just wait till you can't afford your mortgage. Wait till you can't afford your groceries. Wait till blah, 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 fill in the blank. And I saw Donald Trump Jr. respond to one of those tweets where he said, that's already the case. For 4 years, people have not been able to afford things. This has been a nightmare. So the gaslighting continues on the part of the left, of trying to say, well, just wait till you can't afford anything. I'll get into a couple of DMs that I got later on around the same topic. But let's talk about Hamas. As we know, October 7th, we just celebrated the 1-year anniversary of October 7th. The attack of Hamas on Israel, 1,200 people were murdered that day, raped and murdered at a concert. And then they went into the neighboring areas and the villages and in the neighborhoods, and they dragged people out of their houses, execution style. It was horrible. We've seen the footage. We have now seen the back and forth between Israel and Gaza. Doesn't matter which side you take on this thing. And people have, I will say, Royce, just so you know, people have heard me on this show say anywhere there's the governments of man, you're going to have evil. So our government is evil. Israel's government is evil. Hamas is definitely evil. They're the epitome definition of evil on the planet. And they need to be eradicated from the planet. But Hamas has come out with something very shocking just a matter of 12 to 16 hours after Donald Trump was named president-elect and won the election. Immediate end to the war after the Trump election. How have you dug into this any at all? They basically got on the phone and said, okay, we're done.
Basically Hamas is coming out and they're scared of Trump, just like most of these world leaders and countries are. They're scared because he actually is capable of protecting America, and he's not going to let things happen like the Biden administration had for the past 4 years.
Yeah.
So they're scared. So now they're saying, okay, Trump's won this election. He's going to be president. We've got to fall off or he's going to take us out. And that's just the reality of it. And that's the kind of president that we needed this whole time. When there's war on the rise, when there's threats being given, especially to America or to any country that we ally with, we need someone who's going to be able to say, hey, I'm going to bomb the heck out of you, in the words of Trump. Not exactly, but someone with a strong hand who can come in and actually scare the crap out of these people. And that's what Trump does. And that's why Hamas is now saying, hey, we want to end this. We do not want to be on Trump's bad side. But honestly, bad story for them. I think they already are. There's a lot of stuff going on with them. So we'll see what actually happens with them. But yeah, they're scared.
Now, here's what I see as the psychological strategy on the part of Hamas. They know that they're going to get smoked, right? They will be Abu al-Baghdadi. They'll be General Soleimani, who, he turned into hamburger meat on the tarmac.
Died like a dog.
Died like a dog. He cried. I wouldn't have cried. I would not have cried, but he cried. I heard he cried. And they know that that's what's going to happen. Now, the problem is, I think what they're trying to do, obviously, it's an SOS, save our skin, because Hamas's leaders, they're not in Gaza. They tend to occupy, their place in their luxury condominiums and offices in Qatar, however you want. Different people pronounce it different ways. But they're there. I mean, they're in Qatar, and they're not even there. They operate from a distance, from a safe space, and I think they're trying to do everything they can to maintain strategically there and save their own skin. I hope that Trump, and I don't believe Trump will fall for this. These are evil people. These are people who, for whatever reason, they were created. They've been supported. Listen, the American government, in a lot of ways, has created these groups of people who have become terror cells and terror organizations. And, for whatever reason they started, they have to end. And I pray that Trump will bring an end to Hamas. Because and here's the issue, people don't like me saying this, but here's the thing. Here's the problem in Palestine, with the Palestinians, I should say, in Gaza. They are tribal. So that means if they don't have one central, Hamas has kept all the tribes in order, because if you remove Hamas, then all those tribes are going to vie for power, and they're going to end up genocidally killing each other. And that's going to be the problem. So, whether it's Israel, which is a stabilizing force, or the United States, and the threats of strength and might against them from the United States, that is what keeps them sort of in check. So we'll see, because obviously that's going to be an unstable area. Those Palestinians, you remove Hamas, and those tribes are just going to start killing each other. And so that area of the Middle East is deadly, dangerous, and evil all the way around. That's why when I see all these people, these pro-Palestinians, it's like pro-Palestinian protest. I'm like, you guys don't have a clue what you're even talking about. These tribes, they don't like each other. They're not interested in unifying. They don't want to do that. So whether you like Israel or not, their government has been the stabilizing force in that region. And again, that's all I'm going to say about that, because otherwise we get into a debate topic that I'm not interested in getting into today. But I do like the fact that Hamas says, we're out. Trump gets elected. We know we're not pussyfooting around with dementia Joe Biden. Kamala Harris wasn't going to do anything. They're over here making sure everybody's, has joy, and they're demure and all of these things, and they're not interested. They're demure. We'll get into very mindful. We'll get into some very mindful and demure people on some videos later on. So we're seeing that. But then I got a message. I got a message from my friend. My friend, who I will not name, he's very well known. He is, let's just say, he checks a lot of boxes. Okay, but he's on the left, and I love him dearly. He's a friend. We just had dinner recently. He's a well-known dude. Again, I love him like a brother. Love him. Even though he might even identify as a sister sometimes, but he checks all the boxes. I love him dearly. And he's not on my side of the things politically, which again is perfectly okay. We discussed it over dinner just a little bit, and in the middle of the dinner, he said, you almost have me convinced to vote for Trump. Now, he was being a little tongue in cheek, but I was hitting him with some hard facts and numbers, okay? And he messaged me a little while ago, and he said, you have to be ecstatic right now. And I was like, well, I am happy with the outcome. I said, but here's what I want you to do. I said, I want you to quit listening to the media sound bites. I want you just to pay attention. I said, he's going to bring peace on the globe. I said, Hamas has even already stopped. And he sent me the emoji of the nail painting thing. And he said, you are just too cute. And I know what he was saying, basically like I'm brainwashed. And I said, open your eyes and watch what happens. Hamas has already said they don't want any of this smoke. I think we're going to see the same thing happen in Ukraine. I think Vladimir Putin's going to pull back on this deal. I think, as Trump has promised, he doesn't even have to be in office to be able to bring some peace in that war-torn area. But he sent me a video message, and he was riding down the road. He said, I don't think Trump's going to do time, and I don't think Trump should do time. He said, but what happens now if they try to put him in jail, if they try to sentence him? And I said, well, funny you should ask about that, because here's what's going on right now. Pop that up. What we're seeing is, Judge Marchand in New York is now considering tossing all the felony convictions out. This is our friend Chuck Callisto, his X account. So, he's supposed to do sentencing on November 26th, but Judge Juan Marchand, he's thinking about tossing the whole deal out. Doesn't even know if they're going to have that hearing. And by the way, you can't call somebody a felon unless they've been sentenced. And one of the things that I predicted was one of their strategies on the left that they could do if they wanted to keep up this warfare was they could try to sentence Trump. They could really push for a sentencing here, even if he was elected. But I think they've known from the very beginning that this was lawfare. These were, to use a phrase, trumped up charges. They would not stand up in the Court of Appeals. This was all about optics. There was nothing that Trump did to warrant this type of bullshit, okay? And that's exactly what it was. Now they know they don't have a leg to stand on. We're seeing that happen. We're seeing Jack Smith already. His crap has been tossed out, in the process of being tossed out. What have you seen on this, Royce? What are your thoughts on the optics of this whole thing? What do you think is going to happen?
It looks to me like they're pulling the same move that Hamas is trying to, which is, oh crap, we know what we did. We know what we did. We know he knows what we did. We've got to back away before something really bad happens. And they're too far into the hole. They're going to take off these phony, cases that they have, these phony charges that they have on Donald Trump, and they're going to try to save their own butt because they're going to be a little bit selfish right now. But you can't forget that they were trying to put this man in prison. They got a mugshot of him. They gave him how many convictions does he have?
91,
92, something like that. They tried to ruin this man's life. They tried to make him broke. And he's not going to forget. You don't forget when someone messes with your money and your family. You don't forget it. And Donald Trump is not. And I think Judge Marchand, Jack Smith, Letitia James, Fat Fanny, she's going to – Fanny. I like Fanny. Fanny sounds better, but
yeah, it does sound better. I like it.
Fannie Willis. I think they're all pooping their pants right now because they're scared.
Yeah.
Because when Trump's in office, they're over. They are done. And so this is just them begging for forgiveness, basically, by taking all these off on day one of President-elect Donald Trump.
Well, I like what's I don't listen to War Room a whole lot. Every now and then I catch a clip of Steve Bannon, who said, I know that Trump has to play nice with a lot of these people and be diplomatic. But he said, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to continue to hold them accountable, hold their feet to the fire. I'm not, in this case, I am not a forgive and forget type of person either.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were willing to end me. You were, let's go back to COVID. If I wasn't going to get the blah, blah jab in my arm, if I wasn't going to be an experimental guinea pig and take your Pfizer juice into my body, then you wanted me to die. I mean, they literally wished death upon me. Then they have consistently called me every name in the book, culminating with a Nazi. That is basically saying they are calling for my head. They want me exterminated. They want me eradicated from the planet. All because of a differing political viewpoint, ideology, and worldview. So, I remember after COVID and people's eyes started to open up to the BS that had been foisted on the American people, there was that article in The Atlantic where the lady wrote the thing, and she said, we didn't really know what all we were doing. We might have overreacted, so we're asking you for amnesty, some forgiveness and amnesty. I came out with a T-shirt at that point in time. I think you can still get it over at prathertees.com that says no amnesty. No amnesty. Never forget, never forgive. A lot of people were mad at me because they said, well, Chad, you have to forgive. And I said, no, not in this case. Me as a person, I'll hold nothing against you as an individual. I believe God commands me to do that. However, I think on a corporate level, no, we don't forgive you. We hold you accountable. There has to be justice. Even God, when he forgives, is still just. God still has justice. There are still results for the things you do. Somebody has to pay the penalty for the sins. And the COVID nightmare was a sin against humanity. What has gone on recently, whether it's social media, I just read a thing this morning, I got to get Kramer. Kramer says on Instagram, Kramer, God, he cracks me up, dude. I mean, his takes on just fast little 30-second takes are amazing. But he posted a thing on there this morning where somebody said, I think their cousin had committed suicide, had been dealing with some mental, depression and anxiety and stuff. But the results of this election forced them to commit suicide. And I'm like, that falls directly on the shoulders of the media and the leftist propaganda machine that have pushed a whole bunch of fear-mongering crap on the American people. And these morons that don't possess a fully developed cerebral frontal cortex have taken this stuff in, swallowed it, digested it, pooped it out, and then swallowed it again, and just regurgitated it to the point where it has become part of the fiber of their being, and they're living in toxic fear. And so this is kind of stuff, these types of reactions are happening because of the lies that the left has placed on the American people. So I don't feel the need corporately to forgive these people. I do believe, and I pray to God that Trump doesn't just let it go. I mean, as far as I know, they owe Trump about $500 million just in bail money. That, you know, he came up with the cash on that deal. Pay him. That's $500 million that they owe Donald Trump. There's a lot of forgiveness that needs to go around. The FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago, the pictures that they actually set those documents up and set them up on the carpet and took the pictures of them in order to put them out there for the public to consume as a propaganda narrative. Look at these documents that Trump has stolen. They floated the lie that Trump was actually telling nuclear secrets to people over what? Dinner. That he, you know, had these boxes of documents just sitting there next to the bidet there in the guest bathroom. You know, they forgot about any presidential immunity. They raided his home. They took they took my passports. I needed my passports. I got two. You know, all of this stuff that they did. Where's the apology? Where's any of that? I mean, when they raided Roger Stone's home and trotted him out there in front of the CNN cameras at 5 a.m, where the hell is the apology for that stuff? So I want him to hold their feet to the fire. The Fonnie Willises of the world, who are activist attorneys, who was, you know, using every opportunity she could to sneak off to the Motel 6 with her boyfriend, and was actually paying him basically, you know, with government funds in order to be, you know, her hoe daddy. I don't believe any of these people should be let off the hook. So I hope Trump doesn't do it. They need to be held accountable, because here's the deal. Once the pendulum swings, if they're ever in power ever again, guess what's going to happen? They're going to do it all over again.
Yeah.
They're going to do it all over again. So that's where we are on that, Royce Chamberlain. I just hope there is some justice, because the lawfare stuff, I've said for years now, we've lost every institution. I hope we're getting them back. You know, I hope this election proves that we're getting it back. Because it turns out that your vote did count. It really did count. And shout out to the people like Lara Trump, who sat there and made sure that the legal vehicles were in place to make sure that those things were counted and counted accurately, and the accountability was in place, that there were people who were watching. Thank God for those people who did that with the GOP. And I will also say, you know, we've lost in so many ways our institutions of education, our courts, you know, all these different things, just gone, that nobody trusts in anymore. And I pray that we can get them back right now. And I think part of that is going to be having to hold their feet to the fire and saying, you can't pull this BS anymore. And this is the results of what happens. I mean, you look at these January 6th people, this mock sham garbage witch hunt that they did for January 6th with, you know, Adam Kinzinger and, what's her name? Liz Cheney. And, you know, and Kinzinger's up there crying. And how many people have been put in solitary confinement for, you know, for a long, long time without any clear charges, and they're still in jail. These people who are they've lost everything trying to defend themselves in the courts. No, hell no, absolutely not. Hold their feet to the fire. I mean, chap their ass, dude. These people they need justice from God above, the stuff that they did. And they all did it to maintain power and to set an example of, if you cross the state, then this is what the state is going to do to you. This was some Orwellian 1984 crap, where if I hold up 5 fingers and tell you they're 6, you better damn well say they're 6, or else we're going to punish you. And that we've seen that across the board in this country. So no, I pray to God that Trump has a sense of justice and puts the right people in place. I hope one of the people that he puts in place, and I talked with some folks from his staff this morning, not specifically about this, but Riley Barker, she tweeted last night, who do we need to have as the Attorney General? 5 million, 6 million reactions. The overwhelming choice was my good friend, Attorney General Ken Paxton here in Texas. I would love to see Ken Paxton turn loose. Turn him loose because he just doesn't put up with injustice, man. And he doesn't care what anybody thinks about him. He's already been through the battle himself right here in the state of Texas. Sham impeachment trial. He stood the test. He's strong. He's solid. He understands the rule of law. He's got a moral fiber about him. He's got a backbone. He's been through some things. He's not a perfect man, but by God, he loves this country and he loves the rule of law. So I say, put him in there. Put him in there. I hope he doesn't put, spineless rhino Greg Abbott or somebody like that.
No,
we don't need that.
No, I think we are going to see somewhat of a unhinged Donald Trump in this election. Yeah. Because if back in 2016, he should have gone after Hillary. He didn't go after Hillary because he wanted to stay. He let her go. He wanted to stay presidential and let bygones be bygones. And that was, I don't know if that was the right choice for him at the time, but he felt like it was. I think in the end it would have been better if we'd locked her up. But in that moment, he felt like it was the right choice. And now, after everything that you just mentioned, all the raids, the locking up, shooting at him, all this crap, everything they put him and his family, and not just him, but us. He feels for the American people. Everything that they've put us through, he's not going to let that slide. He's going to, I think, put Ken Paxton in and say, let loose, man. Put them all away.
I was talking with someone this morning. Won't say who, won't say what position, but I said to them, I said, I would not mind having my good friend as the Attorney General of the United States. That would be she said, well, it was a she. She said, well, you'll always have his cell phone number. And I was like, well, and I hope I will never need it for something like that. But you like to have people in places of power just simply because. So I could say, look at my cell phone. Here's the Attorney General of the United States. I think it would be fantastic. He's going to go after him. My second choice would be Andrew Bailey, who's the Attorney General of Missouri, who is also a friend. I just want to put my friends in places of power. And so I think that would be solid. I think
Ken Paxton would be a great choice.
Ken Paxton would. There's nobody else. I know there's people who have said, our buddy Kash Patel, but I got to see somebody that's already. No one has held the Biden administration to account more than Ken Paxton. I mean, he filed more charges, more suits against the Biden administration. There were so many things that Ken Paxton did, and I'm going to get him on the show. I've already reached out. He said, absolutely. Just tell me when. Oh, by the way, update. Lauren Boebert, talked to her last night. She is in. I'm going to try to get her next week. And she doesn't know why. She doesn't know my nefarious intentions. But I've scrolled her profile for a little while.
That will be. You scrolled the profile, saved a couple pictures, right? That would be an entertaining show right there.
My good friend Melody Villard from Craig, Colorado. Shout out to Melody, her and Albert. Love the Villards up in Craig. She messaged me after listening to the show, and she said, she was given the congratulatory, she loves Lauren, and she said, just don't take her to a dark theater. I said, no, based on video evidence, that's exactly where I intend to take her. That is 1,000% where I intend to take Madam Boebert. Anyway, enough about that. I digress. We'll see. I'll go to her. She doesn't even have to come here. I'll go to her. But no, I did talk. And all joking aside, with no disrespect, I talked to Lauren last night. And she said, yeah, just let me know when to come on. And I said, well, we'll figure it out. And then I got nervous, because I know where my heart is. Anyway,
she said, yes.
He went to Jared. I'm not even sure if she's I don't even know if she's legally divorced yet. I don't know. And I don't know if I need that many wild kids in my life. I've already got enough. Anyway, where were we? I got all flustered thinking about a theater in a video camera. But no, Ken would be awesome. But you're exactly right, Royce. with he let Hillary go, and he turned. Trump did a couple of things that I didn't like. I've said this in the past. I'll say it again. He did not. He went the political GOP route when he started placing cabinet members and staff. That was, I think he's learned the lesson. Unfortunately, he learned it the hard way. He put these people that the establishment were going to accept. He thought that was the right thing to do, and they bit him in the ass. Okay. And let me get into this because and he let Hillary go, but you saw what they were willing to do to him. Literally kill him. I mean, break him, bankrupt him, put him in prison, kill him. But look at how great this is now, the situation we're living in now. I am so thankful that Donald Trump was not put back in office in 2020. I think we had to go through the last 4 years for him to get the right perspective, for us to get the right perspective. If he had been placed back in office in 2020, he would have been impeached more times. He would not have had the people behind him to be able to carry through his agenda. It would have been a lame duck presidency. We wouldn't have RFK. We wouldn't have Tulsi Gabbard. We wouldn't have Elon Musk. We wouldn't have Vivek Ramaswamy. We wouldn't have a Tucker Carlson. We wouldn't have Joe Rogan. We wouldn't have Dana White. I mean, I understand these people that I'm naming off aren't necessarily politicians or even, up for any of that stuff, but they are captains of industry. They are captains of entertainment. They are captains of media. They are intelligent people. We wouldn't have a J.D. Vance. We would still have, Johnny Bravo's or whatever, Johnny Quest. I'm sorry, Mike Pence. We would have had, we would look at what we have now because we waited the 4 years. We waited the 4 years, and now we have these people on board who are going to get stuff done. I mean, RFK basically said, hey, buckle up, FDA, CDC, we're coming. Like, I'm praying. My prayers right now are not only for Trump's protection. I can't believe I'm literally praying for a Kennedy. I'm praying for a Kennedy. Like RFK I did not want to see him as president. I think he's too much into the climate change nonsense.
Yeah.
I don't like his abortion stance at all. But I don't like Trump's abortion stance either. But I'm just saying, but let's give him a job to do and point that laser in the right direction and let him deal with it in a surgical way and take care of some stuff. And then you've got Elon Musk, who's willing to work with a Ron Paul to start, firing and cutting off the fat and getting rid of the riffraff of the bureaucracy that's in Washington, D.C. And I'm like, we just wouldn't have had any of that in 2020. We would not have had any of that in 2020. So you never know in the economy of God. I'm just giving you my worldview. In the economy of God, the things that they intend for evil, man, they really do work together for good. The purposes work together. I mean, have you seen that?
Yeah, I mean, plus God has perfect timing. I have no doubt. Everything that he does when he decides to step in, like I think he did in this election, it was perfect timing. I think if Donald Trump was elected 4 years ago, looking back now, he would have just been the next president that went for 2 terms, and we would have been on to whoever else was next. But because of everything that happened, he is now going to go down as one of the most iconic, influential presidents ever. Most attacked, most everything. I mean, what he has accomplished and what I know he will accomplish as president in 2020, this coming 4 years, it's going to be historic. Everything that we just went over, the war ended in one day. The power that he has as president is honestly unlike any president that we've had in the past 16 years, because he holds himself completely differently.
Yeah.
Countries did not fear our other presidents, but they fear Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Other presidents don't have a heavy hand like Donald Trump has. So the timing is perfect. Everything that's happening right now, it still does suck to have gone through a Joe Biden presidency. That's about as bad as it gets. Would have been worse to see a Kamala Harris. But hey, I think having him now, I'm just thankful.
Yeah,
especially with the lineup like you just talked about.
You're right, dude. And they just, we just had to go through a season of seeing how bad it could be They had to bring out that cackling hyena from the darklands, to whatever it was. We do not go where the sun, the shadow,
Yeah.
Lion King, wherever the sun touches is our kingdom. We don't go to the dark, and they had to trot that cackling hyena out here so we could just see how close to the precipice. I mean, we were fixing to fall off bad. And so thank God now we have a sense of appreciation. And if you don't believe me, just look at how many people yesterday either messaged us or posted on social media talking about, oh my God, it just feels different today. It just feels different. And you know why it felt different? I'm going to give you one word. It was hope. People had hope. Again, they had hope for this country because I think people were seeing the end of America. They were literally seeing the end. That's why I say to these people, I'm like, listen, you want to protest and throw bricks through the window and set stuff on fire. And I saw Eric Swalwell who's like, we're not going back. We're not. Shut up, Swalwell. The most punchable face on the planet is Eric Swalwell.
Next to Mark Cuban.
It's a pretty punchable face.
Yeah.
Pretty punchable face. But Swalwell does it for me, just because he's such a pompous ass, fang screwing Chinese traitor. I just to pump his ass. And I'm he went back and forth with me one day, and I was like, please God, I'll start driving right now. Like, I'll come to your house. Let's go, you little punk. You farting on TV, Eric Swalwell. Just go. But no,
true story.
He did. He pooped his pants. He pooped his pants just like Joe Biden did with the Pope.
True.
I mean, Joe Biden pooped in front of the Pope. But no, I'm like, he's saying we're not going back. We're not doing all this kind of stuff. Watching these meltdowns from these people who are supposed to be Washington, D.C. lawmakers with delegated authority from a constituency in the United States. I'm like, come on. You people are idiots. But I want to talk about this. So TDS, this Trump derangement syndrome, because what I told my people is the people that I've talked to, because honestly, I do try to have a conversation with people who come from opposing viewpoints, I don't just delete them. I try to listen to them. If they're fair-minded and they're willing to have a true discussion, I'm willing to listen. But I'm sitting there going, hey, guys, we're not going to burn your cities down. We're willing to just let you enjoy the prosperity that I feel is about to happen if you'll just shut up and get out of the way. And the guy can get a little bit of support. If we can continue to proceed and get the House and we have the Senate, we can do some stuff here. If we don't have these stupid Republicans up there who don't have any plans or strategies, to get something done. We saw that happen in 2016. They thought Hillary was going to be elected. Obamacare, they didn't have a plan to replace it. So we're still stuck with a crappy ACA. They didn't have a plan because they didn't expect to win. So here we are, Royce. But TDS, I was like, what psychologically is driving these people to lose their freaking minds? I read an interesting article in a psychology journal that was saying that basically TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, is a folk syndrome. It's a syndrome, but it's a folk syndrome. It's not a true medical diagnosis. But it's sort of like when the Beatles came to America and there was this frenzy and they were mobbing their car and coming to the concerts and they were crying and they were fainting. You see the Michael Jackson footage where these girls are having to be carried out of the concert. They weren't literally having a mental issue, but they were caught up in the frenzy emotionally and psychologically so much to the point where it was basically a folk syndrome. And it comes from this repetition in your mind and in your emotions of there is something that is about this person that should trigger me emotionally on a deep level. Now, unlike the Beatles and Michael Jackson, it triggers a deep hate. And these people, they feel like there's a certain response that's coming out of them that has to, because it's ultimately the impetus and the stimulus is fear. And they have this fear. They've been told over and over again that Trump, who, by the way, let me say this is important. If you guys are tuned out, I want you to tune back in. I want you to highlight this portion of what I'm about to say, because psychologically there is a disconnect, because what Trump is doing in their mind is disconnected from what they feel like Trump is saying. So they take his rhetoric, regardless of his actions. They've taken his rhetoric or his perceived rhetoric or the sound bites, like we're going to line, these guns up against Liz Cheney. And they take that out of context. Or the good people, finds people on both sides. They take those sound bites and they take that as this inflammatory rhetoric, and they cannot go back and associate his actions. So even if the economy is good, even if Hamas quits, even if what was the other thing? If they drop these charges and we can get back to trusting in our institutions, he won the popular vote, won the electoral vote. We're seeing all of these things happen. Trust in our institutions again. Even if these good things start to happen, even if there's money in your pocketbook, even if the gas prices come down, even if we start to drill, baby, drill, and we're taking care of the oil that's under our feet, and even if Robert F. Kennedy, dismantles these alphabet agencies, they still can't disconnect from the perceived soundbite rhetoric. And that's why the media has programmed these people and they've injected fear into their souls, and it causes this Trump derangement syndrome. I'm going to play you this clip, folks. Royce is going to play it for us. I'm going to give you the warning. I'm going to give you the warning right here, the disclaimer. You're going to hear a couple of F-bombs. You guys, y'all can handle it, so don't blush. But if there's kids in the room and you're watching this for the next, how long is this, a minute and a half? 2 minutes, 12 seconds. Yeah. You might want to earmuff the kids, but this is, hang on. I popped popcorn. I popped popcorn for this. All right, play.
You came prepared.
Uh-huh.
Here we go.
How did we get here? How did we get here? What in the Alice in Wonderland nightmares is going on right now?
All I can say is, how fucking dare you?
If you voted for that man, if you voted for anybody other than Kamala, and you live in one of the states that it was, close, or if you didn't vote, fuck you.
Oh no.
Look at this lady.
Go, Kamala.
I chose women. I chose America. I love you.
How the fuck is this still happening? All I've ever known politically is hatred.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done with you and your mother and your sister. I'm just done with all of this.
What?
I'm sorry to all my friends who are Trump supporters. You don't understand how scared of this man I am. If this guy does end up winning again, all of the people who voted for him will be like happy and they'll just be celebrating. And everyone else, everyone who feels threatened by him is fucking scared. Like, we're scared for our lives. We're scared for our friends.
How dare you put this man into office for another 4 years, knowing damn well what it means for our country, what it means for us as a people.
To know that there is that much ignorance and that much hate in this country, it's so terrifying. It's so terrifying.
How the fuck are we back in this same situation again? Who the fuck is voting for him? Genuinely.
Fuck you. I don't want to hear about how shitty your life gets under his policies. Live with that decision. Sit with it.
Wow.
Let it make you uncomfortable. Fuck.
Wow.
How dramatic.
Man, that's solid, right? Well, I could watch that on repeat. How dare you? The guy that tripped me out, though, was the guy with the sticker on his forehead. When he says, I voted for women. I voted for America.
I love you. He ended it with I love you.
I love you. Oh.
It's just so insane to see. Like, well, one of the chicks, she was like, how dare you elect him for another 4 years? Don't you know what this means for me? What did he do to you? Yeah. What did he do in 4 years that hurt you so bad? Nothing. Yeah. Nothing. He didn't take any rights away from you. He didn't hurt you. He didn't put you in a camp. He didn't make your life any harder. What are these people? It's so dramatic. That lady in the end who's like this close to the screen, like, how dare you? Like, and she's just screaming, like, it's so dramatic. Nobody on the right was this dramatic when Joe Biden was elected. No. I'm not even seeing anybody be this dramatic on a positive level for Trump winning. This is just a prime example of how brainwashed and psycho the left is, that they're making these videos in like droves. Like there's so many of these videos. My Twitter feed is full of these videos. This is like a sample of what I've seen. It's unbelievable.
So that's why I say, you know, whether it's my friend who sends me a message and says, Chad, you're so cute. I'm like, you can't connect. You guys are unable to connect what's happening with versus the rhetoric you've been told. You have had this TDS syndrome, this folk syndrome, so embedded in your psyche that, I mean, and here's the takeaway that I had. All of those girls, with the exception of one lady, the lady on the couch, who I thought that was funny. This was probably, in many cases, their first election, based on their age. Most of those girls looked like they were 21, 22, 23 years old. And so I'm watching this thing and I'm like, there's something about this that's unsettling to me, that you have had, like you have no life experience. And when I say that, I'm like, you haven't raised children. You know, you probably don't have a mortgage. You've never worried about your retirement, your mortality. You really shouldn't be thinking about the end of your life or fearing something in this sense of dread and hopelessness, this just foreboding that these people obviously have, that drives them to set a camera phone in front of their face and weep and cry and F you and F this and screw you and go to hell. And then the audacity to post it on a public forum so that the world can consume your grief.
It's premeditated, like psychoism. Like they're like, I'm gonna act crazy on camera to give people reaction of how I feel about Donald Trump. You don't just, there's nobody, you're not gonna catch anybody on a candid camera weeping about this. It's all like, oh, it's in their head. I've got to act crazy on camera to give people something so they understand what I really feel. No, people are not actually like this.
And let's give them my and your favorite clip right here. A guy who is very successful, a guy who has navigated a huge portion of, they had a very difficult journey, has risen to the top of his of his industry, and even he just play the clip. Oh, Jimmy!
It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go. For healthcare, for our climate, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO, for it was a terrible night.
Again, Jimmy Kimmel, what has Trump done to you that makes you feel this way? Absolutely nothing.
Who feels sorry for NATO? For the immigrants that make this country go? You know, I'm so sick of that. I am so sick of that. I drove past a pile of brown people today at the airport, and they had their little safety vests on and their hard hats. They've been working on the Houston airport since I think Nixon was in office. And they'll be working on that airport when JD Vance's child is running for office. But they're just sitting around out there, I guess, waiting for instructions. I drove past them and I said to Party Foul Steve, before I dropped him off, I said, what are they doing? What are they doing? I mean, they're just sitting there like staring at the ground. What are they doing? And it's like, he's like, well, just sitting around, you know, watching it build itself, I guess. And I'm sitting there going, I see this stuff and I'm like, really? Again, I make a joke about being brown skinned. They did happen to be of Hispanic origin. And I don't know if they're legal or illegal. I don't care. Like in this, whatever. I'm just being facetious here. But I see folks all the time and I'm like, really? You're telling me that I need someone from Guatemala to make America work? I'm so sick of that type of rhetoric. Jimmy Kimmel's sister, Jill, she opened for me for a few shows years ago. And it was actually during COVID, she came and opened for me. And the first time I met her was in Mesa, Arizona at the comedy club there. And she walked in that night, and Jimmy's sister, Jill, she walks in, and I got such a kick out of what she told me. She said, because she's obviously, her politics are the same as Jimmy's. But she came in and she said, all of my friends told me not to come do this show with you. And I said, why? And she said, because of COVID. She said, don't go do that show because you know that room's going to be full of mouth breathers. I thought that was the funniest thing ever. And I actually told that story from the stage that night, and we got a huge laugh. You know why? Because people on the right actually have a sense of humor. But at the end of that first 3 days together, she said, you know, I had you judged wrong. She said, you are a nice and gracious person. I was like, yeah, I know. She goes, I didn't know what to expect with you. And she was like, no, you really were. She's like, she hugged me and she was like, I'll do anytime you want to do anything. You know, so my point is, these people live in a bubble. They live in an echo chamber bubble. They believe that everything is evil. They need it to be evil. And Jimmy's over here crying about NATO and all this. You know, it's like, come on, dude. That's not where you live. That is not. Remember the Man Show, this guy watching girls bounce on trampolines and bikinis, and he's been in blackface and all these other things. Stop it, Jimmy. Stop it, Jimmy. You know, his old counterpart, Adam Carolla, who was also, you know, the host of the Man Show. I've been on Adam's show numerous times out in California. I know the backstories. Okay, so Jimmy, you're full of it, dude. And this meltdown, you know better, dude. But he needs that. He needs that in order to continue manifesting this crap that we showed you guys on the TikTok montage. All right. Let's play the final clip here. Morning Joe, Joe and Mika, and you know, they got the Reverend Al Sharpton on. Look at this wasted away wart. I mean, my God, he looks like a turtle without a shell, dude.
He does actually.
I miss the old mullet wearing fat Al Sharpton. I miss the old Al Sharpton. Oh my gosh. Anyway, play this clip. Listen to this crap.
I just say really quickly, too, Democrats need to be mature, and they need to be honest. And they need to say, yes, there's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men. Mm-hmm. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men, things we've all been talking about, who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States. You know, the Democratic Party, I've always found when you're sitting around talking, they love to just sort of balkanize everybody into these separate groups and say, oh, white people don't like women and black people. No, it is time for the Democrats to say, okay, and you and I have talked about this before, a lot of Hispanic voters have problems with black candidates.
Right.
A lot
and
of
with other Hispanics. You got some
exactly.
that don't like each other. And some of the most misogynist things I've heard going on this Get Out the Vote tour came from black men. I mean, misogynist things. So you're absolutely right. It's not simplistic. And we've got to have real honest conversations about it.
Real honest conversations.
Real honest conversations. Like maybe don't trot out Eminem and Jay-Z and all of these misogynists that's going to come out here and tell us about how we going to slap women around. You know, so now it's all about the color of skin. So the black people are misogynist because they didn't, and the Hispanic people, you know, Hispanics are against the Hispanics, according to Reverend Al. It's all about the misogyny. They didn't want a black woman. No, particularly they didn't want that black woman who put black men in jail as the district attorney, as the attorney general of California, who made sure that if you smoked a little weed, you got a little extra time. So you honestly thought that the brothers were going to go out and vote for a cop over a felon? Really? I don't think so. No, see, that's the whole thing. Trump got street cred. He got shot. He got felonies. He got mug shots. Trump got a lot of street cred. They weren't thinking about that crap. You know, he got unjustly accused. He had trumped up charges. They raided his home. Oh my God. They came after him, dude. And you know what? Black folks looked around and went, we can relate. We can actually relate to that versus Kamala, who was, a dirty cop in San Francisco. So, and I will say, all you got to do is go look at the voting maps, the election results in the Rio Grande Valley, all the way up through the 1,221 miles of the south of Texas, and look at the migration of blue to red that has happened amongst Hispanic voters in South Texas. You know why? It's not because there was a black woman running. You know why? Because they're sick to death of being overrun by people who are coming across the border illegally and nothing being done about it when they are citizens of the United States. It doesn't matter about their skin color. It doesn't matter about their freaking skin color. But again, they got to make sure the TDS stays intact, and you have that mental disconnect with your folk condition known as TDS. Look at this, boy. Now it's a show.
Where did Mark Cuban go? Mark Cuban just disappeared. Where'd he go?
Boy, I tell you what. Now it's like Brad Pitt in a cowboy hat. Wow. It's like a chubby Brad Pitt. Royce, when are you headed home to Florida, buddy?
Tomorrow evening, I'm finally flying back to Florida. So
good.
Next time y'all see me, hopefully I'm at my desk.
Good. And I'm going to see you when I come to Florida. We're going to hang out a little bit when I'm there. Tampa area, Wesley Chapel. Royce, I appreciate you, brother. It's been a good week. Safe travels tomorrow. I will talk to you between now and then, but give me the screen, brother. Everybody say goodbye to Royce. God bless you, buddy. I appreciate you so much, man. Hey, for the rest of you guys, listen, don't go crazy. Don't go crazy. It's going to be okay. If you guys will hang in there, I know you guys saw Kamala's concession speech. I wasn't overly thrilled with the concession speech that she gave, but she gave it. Okay. She gave it. And there were a lot of little dog whistles in there. There was a little coded messaging in there to tell people to kind of keep up the shenanigans, but don't put up with it. I'm making my plans right now to be at the inauguration. I plan to be there. It's cold in Washington, D.C. in January, but I don't think anything's going to keep me away from that little party. So I'm excited about what's coming. And you know what? Regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, you girls out there that say women have now lost all their rights, you haven't. You can't name a single right that you've lost, not a single one of them. Those of you who identify with the L's or the B's or the G's or the T's or the Q's or the 2 or the A's or the pluses or whatever the hell you want to label yourself as, you're not subhuman. You're not non-human. You might be a little weird sometimes, but hell, so are the rest of us. But just maybe quit farting glitter and wearing butterfly wings and swinging your penis in front of children at story hour, and we'll maybe kind of give you a second go again. But in the meantime, folks, chill out a little bit. Take a deep breath. The stock market's doing good. You're about to have some money in your pockets. We're about to see peace globally all over. I mean, you're about to see some things happen if folks will just shut up, get out of the way, and let the businessman handle it. I think we're going to see 47 do some pretty cool stuff, and I'm here for it. I mean, I stake my reputation on it. I've been telling you this forever, and as I've told you, I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong, for crying out loud. So I love you. You know I do. And I want to see you out on the road. WatchChad.com has all the fun stuff, and you can find me. I'm going to be where am I going to be? Next week, I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, Hyenas Comedy Club, right downtown in Fort Worth. Then the week after that, Comedy Club. Where am I going to be? Bricktown Comedy Club in Oklahoma City. Tons of stuff coming up. Going to be in Spring, Texas. Going to be in Florida. And just lots of stuff. WatchChad.com. Tell your friends and family to jump on here live. I know it's the middle of the day and maybe they got some stuff to do, but if they're at the office, they can go and find a good toilet, sit down and close the thing and get live and just put the volume on low and just take a long poopy break. Just a long poopy break at work. And watch the Chad Prather Show, okay? Go leave us a rating. 5 stars is what we deserve. And a review. You can tell me how good my forehead looked on the show today. I got thick skin and a big forehead. I can take it, baby, because the rejection of man doesn't hurt me and the praise of man doesn't make me. We're on day 33 of our prayers. Posted it this morning. and asking God to give us joy, man. We are the only thing on God's creation, in God's creation, that can receive the gift of joy. It's found in Jesus. And I pray that you guys will pursue that beyond their circumstances. Because remember, if your happenings happen to happen happily, you'll be happy. But if your happenings happen to happen unhappily, you'll be unhappy. So don't pursue happiness. Pursue joy. In the meantime, I love you. Guess what we're going to do tomorrow? Tomorrow, I think I'm going to jump on here live tomorrow afternoon, and I'm going to give you, we'll call it Chad's Church. How about that? I think on Fridays, that's what I want to do. I'll just come to you. We'll let Royce travel tomorrow. Give you a little, maybe a little Bible study, a little inspiration, a little motivation, a little something to drive you back to the values before you go out on the weekend and get stupid. I love you guys. God bless you. We will talk to you next time. Until then, bye.